Welcome back to the SMITE Minor League, everybody. Just wanted to let you know, if you've just been watching all day, you didn't realize it was patch day, the Yemoja brand new god out, but also a whole bunch of new skins, including the cute Cultivator Persephone, so make sure you grab that one. And you might just, by happenstance, win a couple games while you're playing it, because you just happen to be playing Persephone, but there's nothing you can do about that, so don't let anyone shame you for it. Aggro joined here by Zeros on the desk, and Zeros, we got a big one here, Armada. And not a must win, but if they win this game against Cryptik, it sets them up for a big week next week against Sanguine.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just so, I just want to see Baskin play. I haven't seen Baskin play. I haven't really watched SML that much. I haven't seen Baskin play since he played on Splice. And he kind of came into Splice and SPL, and they were doing really poorly. He comes in, just turns everything around. So I really want to see what he can do in SML.
I will warn you, Zeros, that SPL Baskin and SML Baskin are two different beasts. You know,
okay.
Same animal, different beasts, or whatever the Kobe saying is. So it's maybe a little bit. You might want to temper your expectations a little bit.
They do need to win today, though, right? So
yes.
I would assume he puts on a show here. But
I would agree. Armada, as a general, just incredibly talented team. Doesn't always put it together every single week, but I'd anticipate that they will here today up against Team Cryptik. And this seems like Baskin's met at a farm, right? I mean, you can get Ama's like the best god in the game, and he was making Ama look like the best god
before the buffs.
Yeah,
before the buffs. So yeah,
should be pretty good pretty soon for Armada here as we are ready for picks and bans. Armada in that first pick position. I just feel like Cryptik, you're just trying to play spoiler here. Do whatever you can. I mean, these games as a player, Zeros, I'm sure you can speak on it. It's tough, but you could also, I mean, the pressure's off you. You get to have a little bit of fun and just have fun with your guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mentioned it as well, like, the next season is coming up soon, right? Like, you want to look good if you want to, like, say you want to rebuild a team or you look to play in SPL next year maybe. So definitely you want to look good individually here.
I think that's something that does get lost for some fans. That, I mean, these players should and do, a lot of them really care about how good they look in these games, even if the standings don't necessarily affect them anymore. As a Hercules ban early for Armada here does open up the door for Isis. Ama was on the table, but Armada don't go for it. And they take the Isis here, potentially for either Meerkat in mid or Vetium in that long lane.
Yeah, I mean, Isis has been looking so good. Every single game she slips through, she's just like, I feel like she almost has a carry performance every single time. And like, it's just not the damage it is, it's the control as well, right? So.
Yep, it has it all for sure. Though I'm a rat, that's early pressure that can put her behind, but I love this Khepri pick for Armada. Give that over to Geno. Geno, historically a very aggressive support, but Khepri can play that style for sure. And Hunbat's there for mass. I mean, this is so much CC early in this 3v3.
Like, they just can play around this Isis with his comp, right? Like this. Have the Khepri out on Isis, they have Batz to peel for Isis. Like, just play around this Isis. How do they ever kill her?
Good luck, Team Cryptik, that's for sure. The Morrigan isn't a bad start. I mean,
that is true.
Double rat ult can cause problems for any character, no matter how good they are. But still not a great start, I don't think, for Cryptik and their chances with this draft. Armada going to look for a little bit more CC in the bans. They ban away that Athena as Cryptik look at Vetium with the Jingwei and the On Her bans. You think Isis is best in mid right now, or do you think you should be putting her over in that long lane and getting her all that farm?
We've had Cyclones played a lot of Isis in the long lane and been doing really well with it, right? But I think Snoopy played Isis in SPL last week and absolutely popped off. We've seen Isis mid in SML here too, just doing so much. I don't know. I don't think it matters, man. Put it anywhere. Put it support maybe.
Draft it, put it on your team, good to go. That makes sense to me. Chernobog to match some of this global pressure that these Ratatoskrs potentially will provide on the other side. And then a Jormungandr for Baskin in the solo lane. Armada's draft looks 10 out of 10 to me. Those are 5 good gods.
Yeah, I mean, they can do both as well, right? They can peel for the Isis. Jorm not so much, but they have the Batz and Khepri to peel for Isis. They can also dive, right? Batz really good at blinking in, diving with ultimate. Chernobog can dive, Jormungandr can dive, so yeah, it's a really solid draft overall. I
like it, but this Terra pick, we're starting to see a little bit more Terra. She's creeping back.
That's my favorite Morrigan. I think that's the best Morrigan transform in the whole game, Terra.
Oh, Terra?
When it comes to late game, you initiate, transform into Terra, get like 5-man out.
Seems good to me. That's pretty good ultimate. And then you could overlap them kind of and do all that extra damage. I agree. I think Cryptik, all things considered, came away with a pretty good draft here, but Armada certainly the favorite with the players coming in, and now favored, I think, with the drafts as well. Anything that stands out to you about Team Cryptik's draft besides that Morrigan transformation?
I mean, that's mainly it, I think. That's their win condition to win late game team fights for sure. The Rat against Isis, I don't love it because Isis is knock-up immune in her 1, right? So it's kind of easy. If Rat's ever trying to dunk you as Isis, you just go into your 1 and like he can't do much, you know? So I don't think the Rat's gonna be that great. obviously Amaterasu is still super solid pick. She's probably going to do a lot. But I think it's going to be this Morrigan. If she can get good initiation with Terra, it's going to be good.
Armada in a very important set for them, facing off against Cryptik. Game 1, let's throw it to the casters.
Thanks so much, Aggro and Zeros on the desk there. Armada, such an important set for them here today. Anatoly will be joining me on the broadcast to find out if Armada can still even make it to the placement stage. But they've got to get through Cryptik first.
They do, because right now it's Sanguine sitting at 7-2, and a very important Week 13 matchup of Armada versus Sanguine to decide who's going to make it towards placements. But Armada need to win this one before they get to the next one. If they lose one of their next 2 games, they have failed to make the placements.
So Cryptik here coming into this, they're really going to be party poopers more than anything else, potentially for Armada. They don't have much to play for other than bragging rights at maybe denying Armada with a shot towards the placement stage. But this Armada roster, you've seen most of these players before. Baskin, Mast, and Vetium all played high-level competitive SMITE through the years. Can't really not knock Meerkat, though, with his collegiate plays.
Sure.
And of course, Geno's had a bit of time there, too.
I don't know. We can't keep talking smack about Meerkat after he kind of gave Panicat the business at MSI as Rival dropped 2-0 towards Armada. That was with Solar Troll back then, not Baskin, but I think they only improved with this little bit of a roster switch-up.
Looking at the build options going through here early on. Looks like we're going to see a little bit more defense coming out from Baskin early on. With the helm being picked up, we see a little bit more of that in that solo lane, especially on Jormungandr against double physicals in the jungle and solo lane respectively. But other build options, MandoWarrior going for the Boots 2 rush on the Morrigan in the dual lane.
A little surprising to see that, actually, because normally you're going for some sort of blessing. When you're in the long lane, you have so much time to farm and build up those stacks. Mage's Blessing is so good at getting MP5 to continue spamming abilities. But this must be a power play for MandoWarrior where he's thinking of, all right, once I get Shoes of Focus or able to be a lane bully with that extra mana, with that 10% CDR, throw those Dark Omens from a distance at Vetium before he has Devil Gloves for the sustain.
Yeah, and I think Zeros was talking about that on the desk too, regarding those Boots rush and the dual lane from the mages, because then the potentially to go into Doom Orb. Morrigan specifically loves that Doom Orb, that extra mobility is so important to her. Early on in this one, though, Armada up a bit of gold at the moment, just with a bit better farming. And the experience difference, you can see just edging out JinguBang there is Mass with that level lead.
I'm a little surprised to see Ratatoskr being played. We don't see it quite often, but I think this Ratatoskr pickup is a good look to apply global pressure on gods that can't necessarily get away, specifically Meerkat on the Isis. If Geno isn't present to assist the Isis, that could be problematic.
Rise of Khepri has been something that people have been talking about as of late. Does look like Baskin may have a bit of an issue there, so probably going to see a pause in a second. Oh no, he's back, okay. In time for that, just sitting under the tower farming as a Guardian used to in the old days. He doesn't want to fight Copebby.
I'm assuming he's eating some food now, honestly, at this point. He's like just choking a farm in the solo lane, farm from the blue buff. He's like, Baskin's probably thinking to himself, like, Baskin, are you okay?
He drops his fork or something is probably what happened there. So with that, a little bit of a break for a second or two as the team take a pause. But as we said, Armada, very important set from here today. If they don't win this, no chance of going to the placements. So it's on Cryptik to try and shut the door on that option and cause them some problems online.
It could be a problem because Armada were to find the victory in week number 3. They won that set 2-0 against Cryptik before. If history repeats itself, they should be fine. But I still think that you can't get Cryptik behind too early, or rather you can't disrespect them too early because they have a great late game composition. The Terra, the Amaterasu, these are 2 team fighting frontliners you don't want to have to deal with in the late game.
And with that, the red buff being taken by Cryptik there, probably given over to Diesel in the jungle, not going over to MandoWarrior at the moment. Because MandoWarrior on that Morrigan going to be taking on the Chernobog, which is a little bit of kill potential. Obviously, with the extra stealth and stun options available, can put the pressure on, but very much be aware of it. And then obviously with the ultimate, being able to jump into the walls, can give him a bit of safety. Going back to the Khepri, though, we were just discussing before the situation. He's risen pretty dramatically, but he's still not changed that much, you know? He just does a little bit more damage and has a bit more survivability.
When you're going for such vulnerable picks in long lane, you need that defensive support to bail you out.
Talk about picks in long lane. Vetium under pressure, jumps in the wall at the right time as the Acorns did come through, holds onto his speeds after the Acorns. If anything, JinguBang he could have potentially just faked out using the Acorns there and hoped for the jump out quick.
The best play is to be patient. When you know you have the enemy cornered where they can't really escape, you got to be able to wait. If If he had waited for the second dash afterwards and then guaranteed the Acorn Blast, that would have been a guaranteed stun and maybe a first blood.
Sibyl rotating towards mid, trying to wall off Meerkat here, playing the Isis. Probably one of the strongest gods in the game right now. Amaterasu another, so at least they split the difference in that regard this game and go each way.
Copebby getting poked out a little bit here, but Baskin needs to be careful now because that dazzling offensive could kill him.
Baskin still hanging around. There's a bait coming on. Master's on the way, and I think Cope may fall into the trap. But the bad news is, Cope hadn't used his ultimate yet. I will get the kill onto Baskin, but Master looking to turn this around into a 1-for-1. However, Sibyl's blinking in an ultimate will allow Cope to secure his second kill.
What just happened? I can't believe Cope held on to that ultimate for that long, but I think he identified that rotation from a mile away. Perfect timing to negate the Fear No Evil, and then he even gets off the kill. Allows the counter rotation from the Terra with that Earth and Fury. Sick turnaround play.
Another pause coming out there. It was a pause, just so you know. I know it didn't come up on the screen. It wasn't a crash. I promise you, not today. That's what I'm going to say to that. So pause again as Armada get themselves sorted out. Great play from Cope, though, overall. To be fair, Baskin kind of baited a little bit too hard. And then I guess he even didn't have the ultimate for the ult in time.
He had enough mana at the last second when he procced his Warrior's Blessing, but he was still baiting out, thinking that Mask was going to make the presence that he needed.
Root comes out from Geno, and that sets up Baskin for a bit of damage with that World Serpent onto Sibyl. But Sibyl survives long enough, but not long enough until Vetium gets there with that Living Nightmare to shoot across. It is giving a bit of a window, though, for MandoWarrior to get some farm on the left-hand side.
He's going to try to go for the red buff, but once he makes a rotation, he's going to realize that Meerkat already confirms it, so we'll settle for the purple buff instead. A small victory, I think, for both players, Vetium and Mando.
And now on the left-hand side, Mando will get that purple then and continue working towards the Doom Mob. Vetium, after his trip back to base and his visit to the solo lane, gets his full Devourer's Gauntlet online and now tier 2 boots, so the stacking will now begin there. So Doom Mob in every game now, Tolly. If you're a mage, I think it's Doom Mob time.
Yeah, well, 165 power, never
it's
a bad thing.
Season 1 all over again.
I think Season 1 was very close to that amount of magical power, and back then it reset half of it on death.
It did. Those were the days. In the sky, though, JinguBang looking to dunk in. Geno with a backstep. Tried to separate some distance from Meerkat to survive, and the Circle of Protection is what really topped him up there. Good play from Armada to communicate well, because Geno didn't panic. He didn't use the ultimate. He knew that Meerkat was safe.
He backpedaled during that through the Cosmos, so that way whoever JinguBang lands on, whether it be Geno or Mass, that it wouldn't be both.
Yeah.
And that's an important fact, as Geno also waited out Circle of Protection, because he knows that a lot of that damage is mitigated, and then the healing on top of it, so good patience out of him. Really shuts down Cryptik's early aggression, and I'm a little surprised that they're looking for that kind of early aggression when they're kind of more of a late game draft with their picks.
Diesel in mid lane gets a bit aggressive towards Dino and gets pretty punished for it towards the tail end. Didn't have to beads there, luckily enough, but won't be needing the trip back to base sooner rather than later with how his health pool is looking for now. Vetium was contesting those oracles on the left-hand side and did secure them both. But Sibyl blinking in towards the mid lane, looking for some damage on Meerkat. But Meerkat dancing it well nicely as off-screen Mass in the solo lane gets a kill as Meerkat does pick up Sibyl. And now there could be some more pressure in Cope and Diesel at the same time.
Oh, taking the tower is going to be Geno. He still has Scarab's Blessing, so he can take that forever. And just like that, 3 picks in less than 30 seconds for Armada.
Yeah, same time as Mass is ganking in the dual lane, so in the solo lane with a 2-on-2 fight. There's that fight breaking out mid that goes 2 kills the way of Armada. Not only do they get those kills, they get an opportunity to invade the red buff, take that one away, and the left-hand Harpy's Gold Fury could have been looked at, especially with Circle of Protection being up.
It's possible, but a little risky without too much mana to play with. Not the most damage in the world before you finish off that Doom Orb. And the idea of Mask making that rotation on the right side was beautiful, because JinguBang uses Purification Beads during that ultimate in middle when he had to negate that Fear No Evil, so he didn't have it ready for the second one in the solo lane.
Mass more than likely working towards a Transcendence that we've seen so much more of in the jungle position. So much power you get from that item, and eventually you get the stacks online that'll give you the cooldown reduction in tow. Cryptik, though, on the left-hand side, MandoWarrior's invading that purple buff again. These rotations out of Vetium have been impactful, but at least MandoWarrior's trying to make an answer back to these rotations by stealing away farm in the jungle.
Now, you're not getting the full value of the buff on your enemy's side. Vetium really expecting that stun.
And now he's going to get hit by the Fear No Evil too from MandoWarrior, who turned into massive pulling Batz. Meerkat wish he had a Fear No Evil right about now, but he won't separate him from Cope, who allows JinguBang to get the kill on that Ratatoskr. Good picks around the map and answer back from Cryptik.
We talked about how Meerkat needs Geno beside him to make sure his safety is guaranteed, but he had to rotate over to the left side to protect Vetium, but Geno wasn't in range to get off that Scarab's blessing. I love the aggressive nature of Vetium there. He anticipated that rotation from his support player, but he must have been literally 2 feet away from dropping that Scarab's blessing.
Well, Baskin was proxy farming and then invaded the blue buff, stole it away, but still under pressure. Happy to still fight because he's still got the World Serpent if he eats too much damage. And in the end, it's JinguBang who eats a little bit more. That Emperor's Crown just gives him so much extra sustain. Well, not sustain. It's mainly just his survivability.
Yeah. Lowering physical power by 30. Still not going to be enough because Sibyl is here.
Big fin away from Mass. That just bought enough time for Baskin to get into his ultimate and look towards Diesel. But it could have cost his own life as Cope just continued to whittle down their health bar as masked. And now Baskin, who used all 3 shots of his ultimate, gets hit by the walls of Sibyl. And gets the ultimate out of Geno, most importantly. If they can wait this out, they can potentially get the kill. Cope's ulti's back up and he annihilates Meerkat. And Baskin still falls down in mid.
I'm kind of surprised Baskin didn't pull the mid camps to try to guarantee his own death on the Scarab's blessing. But either way, another 2 picks for Cryptik that started to slow down, but now they're picking the speed up.
Vetium is trying to get aggressive towards MandoWarrior there, but the stealth came into play. However, the 8 root combo connects, and Vetium still gets the kill. MandoWarrior was out and went back in. Mask was in and went out, but can he still survive? The suns were dropped. JinguBang in the sky. The rat connects, but now Vetium could turn this around into another kill.
JinguBang trying to get out, but there's a tower on his left, and there's a Chernobog and a Khepri on his north.
And with that, the purple buff will be secured this time around for Armada. Gold lead is ever so slightly in favor of Cryptik at the moment, around 1,300 gold, 1,700 experience, so it's still a relatively even game here.
I'm still expecting Cryptik, though, to thrive in the late game if they can get there. Vetium's last performance there with those 2 picks have certainly helped him get to this position now where Armada going to drop the Circle of Protection to guarantee objectives.
Fury does go down, then Armada get a nice lead. And that's what Circle of Protection really brings. We mentioned this. If anything, Armada's got Fear No Evil and Circle of Protection, 2 very good ultimates for those instances. But then again, we do have Cryptik having a Morrigan means to get one or both of those. And also the whole Yi with the Suns.
But it's better to have both instead of just the one. So I think Cryptik do have a flexibility of which ultimate they want, but Armada having both allows them to have the damage to secure the objectives and then the CC to prevent Cryptik from stealing away that objective.
So an even game at the moment then is now there's a 3-on-2 group in the mid lane. Blinking from Geno and the Abduct connects with Diesel. Diesel doesn't panic though or use his bees, just leaps away back to safety. Armada weren't there to follow up. Cryptik meanwhile though, all in Baskin, whose ultimate is still not available, just used, funny enough. So now the ult from Cope, that'll be secure the kill, but can he live after the fact? JinguBang tanked up the tower, but Cope is in a world of hurt here. He had to drop aggro first of all. This will be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, a 1-for-1 there. Maybe if Cope had teleport available, it was up in 15 seconds, he could have got out of that one, but really abusing the fact that that World Serpent was already used. Vetium in a 1v1 boxing match really knows the damage out of Mando.
No beats for Vetium. He just used his wall jump but had the Aegis to avoid the damage from Fear No Evil. The trade's still going Vetium's way until JinguBang lands and takes his life. Interesting trade between the 2, but at the same time, Armada still find a victory somewhere on the map.
Vetium?
They take down Diesel.
Sorry, Vetium is kind of a beast when it comes mechanically. He played that as well as he could have in the 1v1, but he didn't really respect the global pressure from JinguBang on that assessment. And I think at that point, Vetium should have hard committed to the kill, because when you have to deal with a global pressure god, if you know his ultimate hasn't been used recently, you're going to get cleaned up anyway. So if you don't get that kill, you're just giving something to Cryptik without gaining anything back in return.
5-2-0 for JinguBang in the jungle. He's played some good plays so far, Tully. I do think he's been around the map a lot, though, and picked up a lot of pieces of kills. But it has allowed him to be in a good position now.
He definitely has been a part of a lot of kills. 5 of his team's 9 kills this early on. Never a bad thing for a jungler, and these team fights are going to start happening sooner rather than later now that Cope has that Shogun's Kusari.
Blue buff invaded from Armada with Geno and Baskin leading the charge through. Baskin focuses on JinguBang, but now Sibyl's arrived and the root is going to cause problems for Baskin. He'll use his ultimate to try and peel himself away back to safety as Geno falls back. That's pressure relieved as Cope gets his own blow.
That is never a good feeling to have to use your World Serpent just from a Terra root, but the way Cryptik are positioning around now with 4 members strong, you gotta respect that CC, because after the root, you're about to get stunned by the Terra, and then all the follow-up damage from Cryptik, and this early on, just now finishing off the Breastplate of Valor, Baskin wasn't tanky enough to absorb all 4 of those members' abilities.
Do love Lotus Crown being picked up on Terra. Sometimes I can find it tricky to get in the build just because it doesn't have too much health on it, but the protections that it's going to give you and your team are so useful, mainly through the ultimate. Not only, you know,
That's true.
you have the obelisk to drop down and give a bit of a heal, but normally you're using that for root combinations anyway. The ultimate, different story.
The monolith becomes a damage over time. Once you crash through it, no longer receiving the healing, but that Terra ultimate, once you proc all 4 of those stones, not only are you mitigating the damage of your enemy, but you're getting that healing. And it lasts quite a long time, so an extra 20 free protections, never a bad thing from a Terra heal.
MandoWarrior, though, ready for Spear of Desolation in this game. He wants that extra cooldown reduction and penetration that you'll get from that. It's quite an expensive item, but if you can make use of it, those cooldowns that you'll get from the passive can come into play. Big fan of the red buff, though. He's already on the ground as Sibyl gets focused. It's Mass that gets picked up by Diesel. JinguBang comes jumping in for some plays as MandoWarrior turns into Mass on the Batz and helps to secure the kill on Meerkat. Geno has to ult himself in that fray because he wasn't able to find another target, and he's trying to survive as long as he can. The blink was just in time. Not for Vetium, however, he's going to fall, and now Baskin, surrounded by 4, is going to use the ultimate to try and get a kill. Harder than easier said than done.
Yeah, not going to find that one, unfortunately, for Baskin. This is not a good look for Armada. They're losing the early to mid game where their draft is built around it, with Mask on the Hunbats, with Meerkat on the Isis, and now Cryptik are feeling extra ambitious.
Why not go for this in this situation? 2 members dead, everyone in base from Armada, teleport not available for Baskin. He just uses ultimate 2. Free Fire Giant. Well, I say free, it was uncontested. The damage was already done by Cryptik before that.
Where was this Cryptik at the beginning of Phase 2? This looks like a very strong team. It seems like they finally have found a little bit of their footing, whether it was through confidence of their previous sets or finally figuring out a draft that builds towards their own style. They are making look Armada like they are the team that is currently 3-5, not able to qualify towards the placements.
8-12 then as it stands. 20 kills in the game at 17 minutes in, approaching that 3k gold lead. Oli Fury should even that up a little bit and give a bit of pressure to Armada to try and slow down what Cryptik can do with this Fire Giant buff they've got now.
Now, it is a very early Fire Giant, so it's really hard to establish this to a bigger lead. Still good defensive options out of Armada. Long-range poke from Meerkat on that Spirit Ball. Vetium controls a lot of space with his root combination. Baskin can drop a lot of pools, especially if that's going to be a gem of isolation to make those pools slow down a little bit of Cryptik's advancements.
Same time though, if you are Cryptik in the situation, is it best like tier 2s is the best option? Aim for a couple of tier 2s to get that gold lead rather than Phoenixes?
I would never go for a Phoenix like at 17.5 minute mark, because even if you do get it, it's going to take you so long. I would rather have all these towers down to the point where you get 5,500 gold as opposed to only 1 lane worth of towers plus a Phoenix, because that Phoenix does a lot of damage. At this early on in the game, before the 20-minute mark, you only have 1 big Gladiator Brute minion, as opposed to 20 minutes, you get 2, 30 minutes, you get 3. So that Phoenix burns through your own wave faster.
I always forget about those Brute minions and how much of a difference they can make, because you feel it in game when you're playing against Brutes, right? How long it takes to bring them down, but you don't think about it in the sieging options. Cryptik, nice little ricochet out from Diesel there. Nice damage check onto Meerkat after the bounce off the wall. Vetium eats the wall after that and then gets poked out by Mando. JinguBang's hanging around the side, and that makes sense because he can blink over if he wants to. Actually, no, he can't. He can blink.
Vetium taking a second ricochet just for his trouble, and that might be ghost sign for Cryptik, knowing that Vetium's backing.
But Vetium does have that ultimate on Chernobog that can get back to this fray very quickly. Cryptik are just going to be careful about how much they want to invest here. They're being very respectful at this moment with this Fire Giant.
They definitely have. They're really relying on Diesel to keep hitting the shots that he has been, and maybe the sustain from the Fire Giant and the Monolith coming from the Terra.
Spirit Ball out, Cope jukes that out, as he does re-abduct too. Living Nightmare used by Vetium, but the bait is good from Cryptik. They turn around to fight again, led on by Sibyl's ultimate and the JinguBang. Ult to the backline from Cope, hits 3, and that sets up JinguBang to take down Meerkat. He gets out just in time too. Same can't be said for Geno with that abduct. Tier 2 shall fall as Mass takes on Cope, but Cope's a tanky baby right about now. Not tanky enough to weather that storm though.
He already did his job. Cope made that fight a realistic possibility after already getting poked out by MandoWarrior. It was weird to see Armada want to fight originally outside of the tier 2 tower. It felt like they were getting a little impatient, maybe too antsy, but Cope on the backside, he goes in, uses Dazzling Offensive on 3, and then he baits out that early circle of protection, allowing Cryptik to get that tier 2 tower.
Yeah, as well, the one thing about Geno's still got his ultimate up now, but it's a very tricky ultimate to try and find a target in this game, because he's trying to frontline peel or aggress, potentially, and then by the time that's happened, he can't really turn around and ult the backline, because he's getting focused himself.
Once you use Abduct, you can't really channel your Scarab's Blessing, and on top of that, I'm pretty sure MandoWarrior transformed into the Hunbats, and he Fear No Evil on top of Geno, preventing him from getting off that ultimate.
I just find it always awkward to play a Khepri when you've got like divers like Baskin on this Jormungandr, and he's hard to target anyway. You can't target him while he's ulting.
Well, he's not taking damage during the World Serpent
but you
anyway.
want to ult as he's probably trying to get away just in case, right?
It depends, because he has enough distance on the World Serpent to get his own escape route. I think that if anything, Geno's target selection or priority of his own ultimate, he's probably thinking that Baskin's at the very bottom of that selection. It's more important to save Meerkat or Vetium. Those are your 2 damage dealers. Mask is kind of like your damage dealer also, but more about CC and zone control of trying to burn those squishy backliners.
We're looking at the Hunter builds coming through here from Diesel and Vetium. Fail not is... It can be picked up on most of the Hunters, but specific to a few. And I do think Chernobog and Hoyi are the 2 of the ones that are really good. I say that as I'm watching Vetium getting pressured away from this tier 1. He may end up falling down here, and does so as MandoWarrior turns into the monkey. Drops the Fear No Evil because he can, and Sibyl blinking in, JinguBang in the sky. This could turn into a fight cycle, potentially used by Meerkat. And he ate a ton of damage. The heal didn't revive him enough. And now Geno's in trouble.
A triple knockup from JinguBang. Geno will save Mask temporarily as JinguBang gets a double. Looking for the triple kill onto Geno, though.
Ooh, and Geno really went for that abduct, but now that's a cooldown. It means it's easier for Jingu to go back in and get a triple kill. The root at the tail end may be enough for a death, not to be. He will survive, and this will be a tier 2 tower. Fire Giants respawned.
Go for the Phoenix, yeah. Go for the Phoenix. Now, it's only Baskin playing defense. You don't have the World Serpent to dive this. I think this is an easy Phoenix on the right side. MandoWarrior is fully healthy, but everyone else not so much, apparently.
Yeah, they're a bit worried about Baskin's all, and I guess it's with Vetium respawning and the Living Nightmare coming through. He looks towards Sibyl, gets stopped by MandoWarrior. Sibyl's juke boots are pretty solid right now, but the spit from Baskin is going to be enough to bring him down. Just those autos. Cope tries to dash in. Mando closing the gap for a stun. Changes his mind. A little bit worried about where Baskin was lurking. All the while, Diesel did at least start to split push mid and take down that tier 2.
Got the tier 2 tower, so they don't get the Phoenix. They lose Sibyl in the process. I don't expect Armada to be able to confirm a Fire Giant for themselves unless they're feeling rambunctious to try to go for it the same way Cryptik were. And that last set of circumstances, I don't think Vetium had any business defending that tier 1 tower. Mechanically, Vetium is never to be questioned, but sometimes some of his decisions could be questioned.
He gets a little bit crazy is one of the best way I can put it. Not in a terrible way, just in a way of like he's sticking around too much trying to make the big plays because he knows he possibly could. Now they'll make under pressure, uses Aegis on the circle of protection, still alive though, more importantly. JinguBang goes down to Vetium. That's the first kill in the favor of Cryptik as the Fire Giant is around Armada.
MandoWarrior trying to run for his life there. I don't think he got off his own ultimate in time. Stealths away from Baskin, but he's going back into the fire.
So Mando trying to creep up. Great abduct from Geno plus Diesel in terrible pain. He gets the Aegis off the ricochet of the wall, did some damage, but not enough to survive. And Mask claims his life. All 5 of Armada are still alive here. Only Sibyl and Cope left standing. As now it's Armada's turn to siege up onto a tier 2, and the Living Nightmare swooping on in back to bring it down. They could look for Phoenix themselves.
You make one little mistake against Armada, and they're going to make you pay tremendously. Now cutting this deficit down to only about 2,500 gold, and I think this right side Phoenix will fall down.
It just depends if they can get another kill here. Armada could even look to end, but instead they'll play it safe because Sibyl and Cope won't step up too far either. There's a couple of towers still standing, and those towers being alive do keep the Titan healthier, give him a bit more bonus survivability.
more protections, more health for every tower and Phoenix that does stand. Left side Phoenix out of Armada got chipped away slowly by some of that stacked minion wave from Cryptik as Armada. They really exploited the aggressive call from Cryptik. I honestly thought they could have went for that right side Phoenix, but I didn't realize just how low they all were. I saw 4 versus 1. I'm like thinking to myself, okay, that should be enough number-wise, especially without Baskin having an ultimate. But when you have a 10% health support, a 25% health hunter on Diesel, you're going to get 2-shot by this Jormungandr.
Cryptik trying to get a private period quickly before Armada could regroup, and it was a good job that they did that. Otherwise that could have caused problems. Meerkat had some problems there up against MandoWarrior, who caught him out in the jungle. Did cost Mando his ultimate, I believe, there of the Fear No Evil, however, as he transformed. So now it's Meerkat being down for 40 seconds, Mando without an ultimate. Could be turnaround time for Cryptik to look for picks again.
A little bit of a bloodbath between both these teams, Zindu, man. We have 33 kills in 25 minutes, and this is a point where Armada can't breathe easily because Cryptik have the late game cop.
Cope got baited in a bit farther, but the Fear No Evil gets cancelled out by the ultimate out from the Amaterasu. All the while, Sibyl managed to get the kill onto Vetium as it collapsed onto Vetium on the backside. 2 members now dead for Armada. Meerkat's back up in 10 seconds though, and minions are far enough away that it's going to take Cryptik a second, which means Meerkat should be back for this middle Phoenix defense.
Vetium had no relics, so he got caught out awkwardly. Geno going to get stunned out twice there, getting poked out ever so slightly. Someone has to defend that right side lane. That's going to be 2 fire minion waves.
Could be enough actually to kill the Titan on its own with 2 fire minion waves back to back. If that second one does slip through past the respawning minions, will they all get there? One archer got stuck, and all the others are piling on it.
Yeah, Cope backing now. He should be able to defend this Phoenix, but Armada going to punish them.
Yeah, Cope is around the back actually. He was going to base, but now he's going to try and trap them. Monkey toss from Mass is good. Overhand smash from Cope. Hits onto him. In the sky is JinguBang. All the while the Titan getting hit, but not hit hard enough. The tier 2 tower health should be enough. Big ult there from JinguBang, funny enough. I was worried about the second protection, but he survived and avoided it. Now JinguBang getting collapsed on by Meerkat. All the while, Mash used the ult on to MandoWarrior, and MandoWarrior is going to go down after using the Fear No Evil himself.
A little too aggressive now from Cryptik. I don't like that last call. That Phoenix didn't respawn. The Titan took a little bit of damage, and now Armada with a 5-on-3 for 50 seconds could easily end the game.
I think that's a prime example of seeing how much tier 2 towers can really give the Titan in terms of health. Because that was 2 full fire waves that did get through unchecked. But those 2 tier 2 towers being up means it's got a bit more health, a bit more survivability, and it made an impact there. Armada though marching on for a second Phoenix after that crazy fight in mid.
It looked good in the beginning for Cryptik and towards the mid game, but they got too frisky on the right side. Now with a 5-on-2, Armada came back from a huge deficit.
And now they'll head into the throne room looking for their game. It was a good play from Armada to find the victory there, but it wasn't easy. Cryptik really had a chance to win that one.
Armada really made them work, or sorry, Cryptik really made Armada work for that victory because it looked like they were about to lose their Phoenix, about to maybe even lose the game if Baskin were to fall on the defense, but instead, after chasing them away from the Phoenix, getting the fire giant for themselves, they looked like they couldn't even be stopped at that point.
Completely agree. Armada did a very good job of bouncing back in that game 1. The picks were something to be spoken about because I think there was a lot of over-aggression from both teams. Vetium staying up a little bit far, Mando playing very aggressive with those Fear No Evils. But at the end of the day, it's Armada that wins game 1. What will happen in game 2? Before we get to that, let's go to the desk to break it down.
Thanks, Zindu, man. That's right. Armada, despite being down pretty big early in mid, honestly, still find a way to get the victory. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk. And Zeros, I mean, that was not clean from Armada, to say the least.
Yeah, you were right about Baskin. It's a big difference with Baskin and Spell and Baskin as well. I think it was 0-3 at one point, so.
Yeah, not exactly the top of the game right there, but they get the win at the end of the day. That's usually what happens with these Armada games. They get behind early, they turn it around late. But Meerkat on that Isis, not his best performance, I don't think. He struggled a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he was level 14 when the Morrigan was level 20, and honestly, that's a pretty rough spot to be in, to be fair to him, so yeah.
Not an easy one. Copebby on this Amaterasu was making plays with the double kill right there. JinguBang on this Ratatoskr, man, he was popping people on this Rat. I mean, he was crushing Meerkat.
Yeah, he was like one-shotting people at some point. I think he hit someone with the Acorn Blast for like over half their health, so yeah.
Yeah, pretty good performance from him. So what goes wrong for Cryptik in this game? What turned the tide?
I think they just overstay at one siege, right? They're all back, and then Armada gets Firegun for free, and obviously they have Isis to secure it, so like Copebby came there with the Amaterasu to like spot it out, but like the Isis out is already on there, they're ready to secure, so they can't contest it, and after that they just win the game back.
And that's just the turning point for them right there. Meerkat was able to turn it around in the later stages of the game. Nice spirit ball there.
Did he miss that? I think you
Listen,
went.
man.
I think you went too far.
Listen, man, it's because Geno plucked at the wrong time. I got to defend my boy on that one. 3 and 6 for the top pick, Isis. Mast fell really far behind early, but was able to turn it around, ultimately finishing in the positives at 5 and 4. Vetium also struggled in the early game, but was able to turn it around. I mean, if I'm Armada, maybe I'm picking a little bit more early game focused next time around.
Yeah, probably. And like, it's gonna be interesting to see how Cryptik handled this loss as well, right? Because they were so far ahead, and honestly, they should not have lost this game at all. And now they do anyway. And obviously, as we mentioned so many times, they don't really have anything to play for when it comes to they can't make top 2. So we'll see. I think they might just fall flat this next game, but we'll see.
We'll see. Exactly right. I mean, picks and bans should be ready here pretty soon between these two squads. And Armada, not exactly a must-win, but it would set up a must-win scenario next week. May as well grab your win now and feel good about it, in my mind, because Sanguine, you know, is going to be a very, very tough match next week. So Armada top pick again. You giving Meerkat Isis if he asks for it after that?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, maybe Vetium's like, I don't know, man. Maybe you just toss that over to me. Like, maybe, you know, Baskin's like, I can probably play it solo, guys. Like, let me just take that over there.
I'm really not sure, man.
It could be a rough one for sure in those moments. Olorun and Persephone, the two bans by Armada, very similar from what we saw there in game number 1. Saw Cryptik take away things like the set, and they decide to ban the Isis. That is crazy to me.
I guess they thought he was so far behind and win the game anyway, so like...
Had to be the Isis, I suppose, man. I don't know. That is one where if I'm Meerkat, that's a big win for me morally. Because I felt like I was on feed mode the entire game, and I'm like, no, I must have done something right because they ban it right away. That makes me feel a little bit better, at least, as the Geb ban comes through for Cryptik. So what do we got open here? I mean, Thor is open. Mast certainly likes that pick, could go for it. Baskin also, I'm sure, could play that in the solo lane. And oh yeah, Amaterasu.
Is this Baskin? Does he play this anymore? Or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if he didn't play this. I mean, Geno, I'm sure could play it, but I like Geno on the more aggressive supports. Maybe this would be a good fit for him. The Khepri was okay for Geno, but also had a lot of moments where the ultimates weren't really there.
Yeah, that was also kind of when there was a lot of dying people and there were not a lot of Khepri out, so...
Well, he was trying to save it for himself, you know, just in case he was in trouble, I suppose. I like Cryptik going back to the Morrigan, man, and I think that Horus can do it as well. I mean, if you're going to get off to another early lead, these are two gods that do it pretty well together.
Yeah, for sure. Horus really good support early game. Morrigan really strong in the dual lane. She has so much wave clear early game, which gives her a lot of pressure, so...
I like it a lot. Jormungandr there, so maybe this is Ama either in support or maybe in the jungle. We saw it earlier here in the SMITE Minor League.
I've actually played against Mast Amaterasu jungle in ranked.
Okay,
and
he
was against adapting and he kind of popped off on Amaterasu jungle, so I would assume it's Amaterasu jungle.
Interesting.
Actually with the 4, maybe not.
Yeah, probably Ama support now, but I think that certainly was on the table for them up until right now. I mean, this is 3 frontliners all locked in for Armada, and I like the idea. I think all 3 of these are pretty strong. Chernobog comes through for Team Cryptik in order to take that out of the hands of Vetium. Probably going to go for Diesel in that mid lane, but they've got good global pressure. I think the Morrigan likes a lot of these transformations on both sides. I like Cryptik's draft so far.
Yes, for sure. Chernobog transformation is so good for Morrigan when it comes to rotating. As I said, she has so much push, right? And then with the stealth, you can go behind the enemy tower, proxy, and then turn into Chernobog and rotate to a fight in mid or even in solo lane if you need to. So yeah, really good picks here from Cryptik.
Seems good so far. I like this Ratatoskr ban though from Armada. I mean, that was such a good pick for JinguBang in that last game. Jingwei, just like Cryptik did last time, there was an on-her ban in this slot in game number 1 as they think it over. I mean, you could try and take a mage away, and it will be Merlin. And that's a pretty good one. Meerkat does like that god, and it is a god that can control the team fights pretty well a lot of the time.
Yeah, just overall, like, solid picks. A long-range wave clear, super safe with his dash, obviously. A lot of damage, a lot of objective damage. Like, he's really good at everything. So yeah.
Having that many buttons doesn't hurt you, that's for sure. In a lot of those aspects. Batz taken away by Armada. 2 junglers with good Morrigan transformation targets. I think those are heads-up bans by Armada. And we'll see what Cryptik wants to go now. I mean, you're looking for something for Copebby here, I imagine. And it will be the Osiris. A pretty typical matchup against the Jormungandr. Jorm has trouble against Osiris because his big body just can't get away from all the slows.
Yeah, for sure. Like, just a solid pick in general, Osiris, I think. Chronos. Where is that one going?
Probably to Vetium over there in the long lane, I would imagine. How is that matchup for Chronos into the Morrigan?
I think Morrigan should win it. She has way better wave clear. I'm not sure. Like, if she can get a good transformation, she should definitely have solo kill potential on the Chronos, I think.
So something to watch out for here if you're Vetium is Xbalanque, the pick for Meerkat. Pele, good early pressure. That's kind of what that Ratatoskr did for JinguBang there in game 1. I think Cryptik has good snowball potential with this strat.
Amazing transformation for Morrigan as well, Pele. Especially if she's in dual lane for going for solo kills. She can do so much with the Pele transformation.
We'll see if Cryptik can hang on if they get a lead here in game 2, or if Armada can close it out right here. Graham and Tolly on the cast.
Yeah, it's me and Tolly on the cast once again. I like these two team compositions for the most part here. I do think MandoWarrior might have a little bit of a limited option in terms of ultimate, turn into targets, I guess, this game. Survivable ones, sure, but damaging ones, a little bit awkward because Chronos doesn't give you as much as you'd like as a Morrigan. You don't get the rewind.
And it also depends what god you're transforming to with what you're maxing out, right? Because you're maxing out generally your 2 for lane clear, right? So if you're transforming into the Chronos, your accelerate is going to be a higher level. If you transform to the Thor, your wall is going to be a higher level. So you have to make sure that you know what you're transforming into before you decide.
Have we even worked out what the worst thing is in the game to get 2 of yet? As in, like, 2, if you've got a Morrigan on the team and X, what's the worst combo of double that we could have?
Oh, like hardest to play against? It has to be global.
Sibyl blinking in onto Geno. There was no escape for Geno there. The stun was good from Sibyl after the blink at level 1. And straight after that, he did manage to get the shell off in time. It wasn't to be, though. Great pick from Cryptik. Not a whole lot Armada can do.
I think double rat.
Really?
Is kind of annoying.
That's true.
The knockups are always a good thing. What about double Bacchus, though? You're done with 1 Intoxicate.
And then you're drunk again.
And then you're just drunk again.
Well, Sibyl trying to make a rotation for another gank here. Now onto Vetium. He's still got the beads available if he needs to. He may need them after that updraft came through, but instead, he's going to turn around and deal some damage. Beads at the tail end to try and avoid some. Mando's just going to thread some of those basics.
Wow.
But this time round, he won't be able to. And with that, pressure is relieved. However, Geno now on the rotation, looking towards Sibyl and MandoWarrior. Mando's low on mana here, so he's going to be a little bit careful.
Mando needed 1 more basic attack, and Vetium pulled the no juke, the confident no juke. He showed one side and then just continued going straight. A very high-level play when you're playing against competitive players for this long. They're always anticipating the juke.
Interestingly enough, though, MandoWarrior did have to use the beads, and he just got dashed into his base, and Geno timed that perfectly. But he won't follow up any further there. I don't think he felt like he had kill potential. Sibyl, meanwhile, contesting the Oracles. Now he's got rotation coming from JinguBang and Diesel. And I tell you what, Sibyl's having a very good day today. Game 1 was good from him on the Terra, and now Game 2, this Horus is stepping up.
Great body blocks from Sibyl as well. He gets the CC off, and then he buys enough time with the body blocks to allow his teammates to get their second kill very early on. Baskin struggling a little bit against this Osiris.
Shows how good Copebby's been lately in the solo lane, but then I say lately, he's been around for a long time, Copebby. Flirted with competitive play multiple times at the highest level, so no surprises here. I do love this Cryptik roster, though. I actually like the look of these players. It feels like they've grown and grown as the season's gone on.
They really have, but keep in mind, Copebby, back in Season 3 with Team Allegiance, with Weekend and Incon, he actually used to play in the solo lane, if I'm not mistaken.
He was originally solo lane, that went jungler, then back to solo lane again. I do feel, though, he makes more of an impact in this season in the jungle. I think jungle's more of an important role than solo is at this moment in time, Tolly.
I agree, but there's definitely some merits to having that same mechanics in the solo lane against Baskin. Because you don't want to lose that lane in the solo lane up against Baskin. He's the one person, like, I think Cyclespin and Baskin are the 2 players in the solo lane that when they have a lead, you feel that they have a lead.
But what's the job then against a solo lane like Baskin? Is it just nullify, just cancel him out? Is that what you're hoping him best to do?
At this point, it's to win, actually, against Osiris versus the Jormungandr. But for the most part, it's to make sure that you're not losing your own blue buffs, you're not running out of control of the Totem of Coups, that you still get a little bit, and so far it's been a 50-50 split in that objective. So I think Copebby has gotten about an A- so far in this game.
Got 2 members versus 3 in the mid lane as Armada rotate 3 here. Master at level 4 on the Thor. Soon to be level 5, and then we'll start to see some of the old Master we used to see when the Thor was in and out of the meta again in that jungle position. As I watch the map, though, I just see Sibyl is starting to rotate to the right-hand side now. If he gets a kill on that right-hand side or an assist, he's ganked every lane.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Without his ultimate, too. So that's a good presence from your support player that opts to go for this early blink, kind of the PBM special. Don't expect a Sunder out of Sibyl, though.
So what do you think about a rope-a-dope play, right? Where, you ready for it? Sibyl channels his ultimate in one lane and then starts to gank, I don't know, say Fire Giant Pit, right? Okay. But Thor ults him. No, it won't work. I'm being foolish. I was going complex with MandoWarrior turns into Thor, ults onto Horus, Horus ults them away straight afterwards.
That would be cute.
It'll look really cool. It won't make any sense though why you would want to do it. JinguBang with that gank on the right hand side will at least get banged. Baskin's ultimate, Mass was ulting too, but he didn't have the range to get there to trap JinguBang. But that wall and close from Geno is pretty solid. Cope was still fighting and also used the Lord of the Afterlife there to keep the pressure going. But pressure's relieved for now. Sibyl rotating in a little bit late to the party. And too late to defend the blue buff that's stolen away by Mask.
Unfortunate for Geno that he was only level 4 when he originally made that rotation. If he had Dazzling Offensive, that would have been a kill guaranteed onto JinguBang, even under the tier 1 tower. A lot of base damage on Amaterasu, even without a lot of physical power to amplify it through scaling purposes. That's why we see so many picks in the support lane for Amaterasu.
Meanwhile, build options coming through. JinguBang going for one of the hammers, so more than likely Brawlers or Crusher or Jotuns from that sort of tree, whereas Mask going for what's likely to be that Transcendence again. Although Hydra's is in there and Heartseeker too, but maybe a little bit later on in those builds.
It's better to probably ramp your power curve with Transcendence now, so that way you can also get a lot of mana to spam abilities, and then later, once you have enough physical power from Transcendence and other items, that your basic attacks through Hydras just almost one-shots the squishies in the late game.
Left-hand side, Vetium gets his own purple. Loses a couple of creeps to the tower, however. It'll be a bit unfortunate. And put him behind a little bit in gold, necessarily experience, as he's still got a bit of a lead over MandoWarrior. But that's mainly down to, well, MandoWarrior getting some early gank pressure from Sibyl, putting behind an experience at the early moments in the game. Spurs is pretty much tied up in mid as Geno has to dash away from Sibyl, who's looking for the updraft after the fact. And the Xbalanque pick, which he's fallen out of favor a little bit. Xbalanque is still impactful to an extent with the Darkest of Nights. It's just not as, well, stunny anymore.
Sure. You don't have to worry about stutter stepping any longer during that ultimate.
Do you still do it?
No,
be
I
honest.
don't. I really don't. Well, to be fair, also, I don't think I remember playing against Xbalanque.
That's what I'm saying. You don't see that much anymore.
But when I do see it next time, I'll make a mental note not to do it.
There is a mental note in my head that goes, get ready to stutter step. Oh, wait, I don't need to stutter step. And then I laugh as I continue walking forward. But I still can't see, so I normally walk into trouble because of it.
And that's a big deal when there's going to be that issue of not seeing your teammates, not seeing the opposition. Also, it's a pretty loud ultimate, so it could kind of mask certain other audio cues.
Which ones would it mask, like a Loki stealth and stuff like that?
It depends how far away the Loki stealth starts from.
Well, I wonder if they heard that ultimate. Diesel will find out about it momentarily as Mask comes to the backside on this Thor. Sibyl aggresses at exactly the same time though, and then gets caught off because of it. But round the back comes JinguBang, and a good ult from Geno does shut down some of the options. JinguBang getting very low, but a good shield out of Sibyl, and his ultimate keeps him topped up. Not long enough, however, to survive. Meerkat credited with a kill. Vetium's rotation now to this fight could pay dividends, and will, as Geno's refraction shield will get credit for it. We're tied up at 2-2.
I love the play from Armada to be this aggressive. Even though Mask missed the ultimate, he forced out the early purification beats and the disengage from Diesel. Without getting a kill, Diesel's presence in the team fight heavily diminishes, and then JinguBang goes in expecting follow-up, but he doesn't have it because that I mentioned that Diesel's just not in there. And on top of that, JinguBang's build is not that much physical power oriented. So when he uses that Volcanic Lightning, he doesn't have Warrior Tab Bite that most junglers would. He instead has the MP5 and the mobility from the Travelers.
Was a little bit surprised to see MandoWarrior didn't get involved there. He had his ultimate available, and I thought maybe he could turn into Chernobog, you know, make a rotation to that fight even. Put some pressure on, but instead he elected to just stay in lane. He did go back to base though just now, and I guess that was one of the reasons, as he's just completed that Doom mob, so I guess he had a lot of gold that he'd not spent. Thought it was the better option. It still hurt Cryptik, though, of losing those 2 members.
And honestly, that team fight happened very quickly, so MandoWarrior would have needed to make that decision right as soon as the Thor was channeling that Anvil of Dawn, but I don't think Cryptik were fully aware of the Thor until he actually landed.
Well, they might be aware of him on the right-hand side here. As Mask go into the sky early on, blue buff invasion is what it's all about, and if they can get a pick beforehand on JinguBang, that will set them up perfectly for this invade. 3 members now strong, not much else Cryptik can do there. Nice little play from Armada, keeping a pressure on this solo side of the map.
I like how Mask was so confident in his own damage that he didn't even bother using the 2 after landing from the Anvil of Dawn, respecting his teammates' ability to clean up that kill, invades the blue buff now. And this is where Armada don't necessarily have the biggest of leads, but they have that kind of momentum in the mentality lead where they could flex the map.
Diesel under pressure there, but not enough pressure to not get time to use his ultimate. He's in the sky. Instead of swooping towards someone, he'll just come straight back down. Sibyl and Meerkat trade out for a second, but very, very scared of MandoWarrior lurking in that stealth on the Morrigan. Will relieve some pressure around that red buff. But the red buff was invaded. Meerkat has it around his waist, so another win for Armada. Blue buff invade, get a kill. Red buff invade, survive.
Slow and steady, I think, for Armada. They kind of learned their mistakes in the previous game where they were giving up too much out of Cryptik, as now they're controlling their own side of the map. Vetium playing the Chronos isn't rotating the same way he was on the Chernobog, so MandoWarrior isn't stealing away all these purple buffs this time around, so Vetium can still have that buff for himself, as Armada are now feeling confident enough to go for their own aggressive invades instead.
Golfuse and Pyromancers are available now then, but no one really looking towards them just yet. Neither side really has amazing control in the pit. I'm looking at thinking like kill secure of a Gold Fury for major objective. Not too much to speak of, so it could be a bit of a battle around those, and it might just come down to, well, a team being in a better position after a couple of wins in a team fight.
I think if Geno and Vetium time their abilities correctly between the dazzling offensive and the time rift, that's the biggest burst of damage between anybody else in this game entirely. And I also want to point out a little bit in the solo lane action. Baskin was down from level 4 versus Cope's level 5, but look at this. He just gets left unchecked a little bit. A couple of invades later, all of a sudden, Baskin on the Jormungandr solo has the experience lead.
But I think a lot of that credit goes to Mask then for those invasions and the creation of chances towards that solo lane. Showing off that blue buff is just enough already to really whittle down some of that experience lead that Cryptik had.
It's all about the global pressure.
Yeah.
Last game, the JinguBang Ratatoskr was one to be respected, and now it's Mask returning the favor on the Thor.
Geno did a good little juke there to avoid the auto or the basic attack out from MandoWarrior, which would have done a little bit more damage than bargained for. Morrigan's attack chain is always interesting with that dot effect too and the spread. It always causes so many more problems than you realize.
It's the 3rd basic attack, and it takes a percentage of your maximum health.
That's OP.
It is really good.
It's a mini chins, right?
That's why I love her in the solo lane, actually.
I always get hit by that as a support. I'm like, wait, why am I dead? It was a basic. Well, basic away from that, Mando. Not this time round. Masked credited with a kill, and he's doing a very good job of rotating around the map now with this Thor.
That global pressure still has not been respected out of Cryptik now, with Mask having that 2nd kill and 1 assist, being a part of 75% of his team's kills. Geno now feeling a little confident, has that offensive.
Nice ultimate from him too. That'll get Diesel to ult, and that leaves Sibyl all on his own. I believe he was channeling the ultimate there, but there's no real escape for a Horus at that moment in time. It normally takes around 2 seconds at best to up-down channel.
It does, and I think that he got stunned right before he was channeling that ultimate. It allows a very easy kill at Armada. Not one to slow down when they have momentum and map control.
Straight towards the Gold Fury. You can see how important that was with Cope making this rotation over. He knew the Gold Fury was under threat, but there's only so much a level 13 Osiris can do that's already got his teleport down, unfortunately. It just opens more of a window for Baskin to proxy and keep the pressure in the lane.
Yeah, and Baskin's like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys got this. I'll be over here in the solo lane doing my own thing, as he normally tends to do. As this is the point where solo laners should make their rotations, but Baskin trying to finish off the Void Stone to help out the damage out of Vetium before these team fights.
Ryan Harpy's going to go the way of Cryptik then. The goal disparity is mainly in Armada's favor. A lot of that comes down to the Gold Fury more than anything else. Coups are relatively even, just a 1 difference there. But in mid lane, Sibyl getting aggressive with Diesel once again. Meerkat's health bar whittled down. Beads on cooldown, so they were consumed in that engagement, as was the shell from Geno. Mass ultimate didn't make as much of an impact as he would have liked. And that knock-up combination from Sibyl and JinguBang is going to be impactful, but Geno did great work there. However, he won't get a kill. He dashes into the wall, or the other wall. Didn't get a choice in the matter. JinguBang gets credit with a kill.
I think MandoWarrior had enough Thor in his lane that he's like, okay, I'm going to go Thor now. Great presence of mind on that side lane to mid rotation. Really unfortunate that Mask missed the stun there, and then once he committed that hammer, he was just in no man's land.
Nice juke around there, but the Darkest of Nights really made an impact. Diesel rotating, Vetium looking to rewind and does so in time. Where does he reset to, though? Because he's got 4 members around him. He's isolated, alone, and destroyed. 5-5, all tied up on the kill department.
See, these are the kind of plays where I always look at Vetium and be like, you didn't have to do that necessarily. Now, one-on-one, yet again, he's winning down one-on-one. MandoWarrior, no access to the Changeling transformation. He can't do anything about that area control from Vetium. He's controlling the rotation back to the side lane, which is smart because you're either going to lose your tower by backing and then coming to the lane very late, or you're going to lose the tower by losing the 1v1. But Vetium is now respecting the other players' rotations again.
Baskin up against Cope in this solo lane, and Baskin's health bar getting whittled down. Mid lane, there's a fight again. So sort of big-time ultimate from Baskin with Diesel, but the fight was already underway beforehand. JinguBang abandoning it and starting to rotate to right instead, leaving Sibyl alone. Knowing Diesel's dead, they might not be able to get a kill there, but on the right side, it could be a different story. Although JinguBang doesn't have his blink up, so it kind of limits the options other than just barreling in.
Diesel doesn't look entirely too comfortable playing the Chernobog this game. He's got a lot of pressure in this game through Masked on the Thor, but the last game on the Hou Yi, he felt much more at home with those ricochet bounces.
Oh, Meerkat's a bit far forward there. Nearly got Terra aggro, but got out of range in time as Sibyl swooped in with the stun combo. And JinguBang there to pick up the pieces. Now Geno under threat too, as swooping in Diesel to cut off the option of Geno's escape. The wall will do the same thing from MandoWarrior's Morrigan. He takes to the sky in time, looking for a target as Masked won't be in range to find Masto, but the follow-up might be here.
The stun from the tether, another kill for JinguBang, but meanwhile, Vetium on the Chronos, got a tier 1 tower, with the accelerate on the 4th tick, gets a tier 2.
No teleport available here, and the call to Cryptik is, do we do Fire Giant? Well, I think they should. They're going to end up doing Pyromancer here. I guess they're a little bit worried about the fact Baskin is still around in the area and has that Willed Serpent to slow them down. But Baskin needs to ult probably sooner rather than later and does so. That stun probably would have been his death if he didn't ult there.
He had so many ultimates forced out of him in game number 1 because of Sibyl's Terra. In this game, no different as well. Really respecting that presence of the rotation from MandoWarriors, from the stun, and every other Cryptik member around him.
And that's a discussion we've had through the years all the time. Kills matter, but they only matter when you get an experienced lead or a gold lead off of it. This game, Cryptik are up in kills, but they're losing a lot more towers, which is way more influential in terms of the gold department.
Map control is a big deal, HinduMan, especially in mid lane, but they're controlling that at the very least. Yes, they lost 2 of their towers in the left side, 1 tower on the right side, so it's not all too bad for Cryptik, as long as they can continue these rotations from MandoWarrior. Now that he's level 16, he's maxed out that first ability, so his hammer, if he transforms into Thor, is going to be full ability.
Just keep an eye on the builds coming through. Looks like an ethereal staff for Vetium next on the cards, potentially. It must be ethereal, right? I heard it's one of the better items in the game, and it can't be jump by
Yeah, it's not going to be jump by isolation. You don't need it on a Chronos. You have 2 abilities, and one of them already slows into a stun.
Blink from JinguBang, and Meerkat going to respond straight away with the Darkest of Nights. Mask was rotating into support. In the skies, MandoWarrior on his version of 4, but he won't be able to find a target on the backside at all. He went towards Vetium, but Vetium slipped the net. Tell a lie, Vetium was forced to use his beads, but the follow-up damage wasn't there to back it up. The Fury just spawned on this left-hand side. It is a primal after all, so it could be a bit of a contestation around this. Both teams starting to group up, but only 2 ultimates down, one of them being Morrigan's and one of them being Xbalanque's.
An important objective to control if you're looking for the Fire Giant. Baskin going to get stunned down in the backline, jumping his Cope.
And the rewind used by Vetium, and when he turns up, there's MandoWarrior to follow up with Sibyl too. But Vetium's buying enough time for himself to turn some stun damage around. He needs a bit of help on the backside as Meerkat does at least take down JinguBang. The Aegis bought him a moment, but the squad did bring him down. Meerkat gets a double kill though, and while the backline was dealing with Vetium, everybody else was focused on the front line of Team Cryptik, JinguBang and Cope falling. Armada in a better position now.
Uh-oh. Although Cryptik could have actually fell into a trap there. I don't think Armada were expecting Cryptik to rotate back into this one. Primal Fury at half health. MandoWarrior has steal potential, though.
Got to be careful with no relics available. Same could be said here for Geno, who's also not got his. His blink is available, not in combat. Fury goes down then. The Primal Fury does help to bring down the neutral objectives a little bit easier.
7% extra damage towards Fire Giant, Pyromancer, and Gold Furies, and then you're also taking 7% less damage, which is important if you're trying to go for a Fire Giant once it's crossed the enhanced version at the 30-minute mark.
Totally, I've not had the chance to cast too much minor league this year, but would you have expected? I expected Armada to probably be a bit further ahead at this point. You know, this is a bit close for a team that's battling for the top places when Cryptik aren't.
I agree, but I think everyone from the NASML has certainly stepped it up there. Sanguine has made a big statement. Hype Unit came out of nowhere, honestly, as they were, I think, surprised everyone from this NA scene. And Cryptik almost, you know, kind of pulled an upset in the very last game. There's a lot of talent, I think, in every single team of the minor league. The only thing that they're really lacking, which is a big downfall for most teams, is leadership.
Yeah. And we'll see how that works out for them as they head towards the placements. Potentially for Armada, Cryptik not this year, unfortunately. There will always be a Season 7, though. I just announced this as Season 7, you see that?
You write the script, so yeah.
That's a good point, yeah. I've got to write that script next.
That's a long script, huh?
It's so far away, but I've only got to start working on it now, man. Like, I've got to work out if people are going to change rosters. The efforts we have to go through to perform. Pressure from Armada in mid, looking for a tier 1 tower. Won't really find anything. They're not confident enough to go for a fire jump. They do want to scrap, though. Both teams seem to be up for it. Cope now going to rotate potentially towards this middle area. Was a bit worried about getting picked, so just drops down a ward. Bit of a stalling moment between the two.
Now, even though Sibyl does have some healing, I think Armada's long-range poke damage outweighs the healing potential from Cryptik. So for going that tier 1 mid tower without overcommitting, I like that play from Armada. It's safe, it's sound. You're not really going to take too much damage from the tower, even if you do step into the tower line. So I like this aggressiveness. No objective on the left side, no Pyromancer on the right. A little too early for Fire Giant, so get the safer call instead.
Oracles go down the way of Armada here. Checking the experience differential, Baskin does have a 2-level lead over Cope. That'll be nullified eventually between the two. But meanwhile, the farming in the mid and the duo lane is important to speak of. Those characters aren't necessarily level 20 yet, which shows how scrappy it's been with the fact that there's only really one person at level 20 in the game.
And now that Vetium does have E-Stab, he's going to be a little tankier. Diesel might be in a little bit of trouble with Darkest of Nights. Armada feeling a little frisky.
Meerkat really feeling frisky as he gets to the backside, but didn't realize Cope was behind him. Aegis early on to buy a moment, and the Lord of the Afterlife connects, gets the beads 2 out of Meerkat. Now JinguBang to the backline to kill Meerkat. Meanwhile, Diesel and the rest of the squad of Cryptik getting very low. But the same can be said for Masked, who's in a lot of trouble here. Baskin still trying to get hold of Diesel with the World Serpent and not doing a great job of it, if I'm honest. But now the group up from Cryptik is good, and Baskin could end up being collapsed on. He did get Diesel. He may get more kills if he's not careful.
Oh, good stunt to prevent that kill, but still Baskin persevered long enough to get himself a double kill, which is a very important kill. You just stripped away the second damage dealer. It's only JinguBang, and without 2 of their damage dealers, like, how are you going to push through objectives?
Very, very interesting tail of events, because Cryptik should have been in a very good spot there. Potentially, what, 4 versus 1? But instead, it ends up being a 3-for-1 exchange. And as you said, with only JinguBang really for the damage here, they can get a tier 1 maybe on the right-hand side. Tier 2 could be looked at potentially mid. There's not a whole lot of minions there for Cope to whack away with that. So Fire Giant still looms for either side.
Yeah, not without Copebby. You're not getting that tier 2 tower on the right side. So I guess stripping away the speed buff is the best that Cryptik can hope for. And this game is still basically anyone's game, but I still always have to look at which team has the better late game draft. And honestly, like both of their drafts, but Armada's is slightly more effective about chasing you down with the Amaterasu, with the Thor, with the Accelerate from Chronos, the World Serpent from Baskin, a lot of chaos from Meerkat's Darkest of Nights.
Funny enough, I think both teams are very just chaotic in terms of what they bring to team fights with both sides. There's lots of ins and outs and skirting the borders, rewinds, stealths.
And I think the way Cope played that last team fight is what allowed Cryptik so much success. Going into the backline, I think tethering 4 different players, you're heavily reducing a lot of their damage output. You are a very tanky Spudge to get in there, and everyone else from Cryptik got the damage they needed to do.
A little bit concerned for Armada in one sense of lifesteal, or sorry, anti-heal, not lifesteal. Because I'm looking at JinguBang as I was saying lifesteal, because he's got that Soul Eater now. Sustain could become a bit of a problem. So we're going aggressive in the jungle there towards Vetium. Vetium did use his beads, but he had reinforcements behind him just in case it got a bit too aggressive. But now there's a window again where Armada could be on the back foot, although MandoWarrior needs a few more seconds for his relics to be available.
Last two Furies did go the way of Armada. Now it's Cryptik trying to pull the trigger on the left side. JinguBang and Vetium trying to steal it away.
Well, Cope's been left alone for a second. Mid has to be careful. Throw mine in well is Sibyl, but he's getting low. Meanwhile, MandoWarrior got towards Vetium with a stun, and those relics just come up his beads, Vetium, but still used again. Didn't keep him alive in time. The rewind didn't go through. Great ult from MandoWarrior, though, as he goes aggressive. And now looks towards Geno.
Geno should be fine under that tier 2 tower. Can't say the same for... Okay, Mazu does teleport onto that tier 2 tower, so Cryptik, after getting those 2 easy picks, Vetium, no relics at the time, his rewind didn't get off in time, Meerkat was a sitting duck after the Rising Jaguar, Cryptik capitalizing.
The Fury goes down. Meanwhile, Baskin was just trying to farm up mid, and Cope's just going to continue to beat him down. It's a boring matchup watching it through the jungle, but the Worm eventually has to be very careful, or maybe it's Cope because Geno's back in action, Diesel on the way, however, and Mast is also around on this Thor.
Yeah, you're never going to kill Cope on the Osiris because of his passive. 16% physical mitigations, 8% magical once you get all 8 Osiris passive stacks. If anything, it's Armada that has to be careful because Cope is trying to set up his own rotations.
Cryptik starting up the Fire Giant though as Cope continues to zone. Geno seems to get an idea something's going on. And Mass will definitely confirm that now as he walks into the area. Baskin on the way. The damage onto JinguBang from the spear is solid. Mass in the air, going to dunk early, not going to hesitate at all. Looks towards MandoWarrior Diesel on the backside. Baskin ultimate the Will Serpent looking at MandoWarrior, who's trying to get to the sky, but Mass autos will bring him down. JinguBang on his last legs here, will escape with his ultimate back towards mid, chased on by Geno. In the back of the fight, though, that's left Diesel all alone. And Cope, there's not a whole lot he can do. He's being avoided for the most part by Armada as they play Ring Around the Rosies with him.
Good stun onto Copebby, not going to allow him any sort of wiggle room. And I like the idea that Geno had to dive that tower, and I'll tell you why. Because as he channeled his 2, you get stronger and stronger as you either deal damage or take damage. So that tower amplifies the second ability, but unfortunately the Amaterasu support doesn't have enough physical power to get that kill. JinguBang survived with one more basic, gets off the knockup, and Armada punishing Cryptik for being too ambitious on this Fire Giant call.
Crazy place, because Cryptik just got a goal for you, and you think, okay, Cryptik have a lead now, they're the ones in control. Immediate answer back from Armada that goes heavily in their favor. 4 members with the Fire Giants, only Geno without it, and that won't hurt them too much. You do want mainly your front line to have some of the Fire Giant buff for the regeneration, but having your carries with it makes more of an impact in terms of shredding down the towers.
I mean, Geno is a mobility bot at this point. Pop your shell, pop your frenzy, make sure you're in movement speed, allow the rest of Armada to start sieging down these Phoenixes after getting the last tier 2 middle tower, of course.
13-16 then. Armada need this victory here today to still have a shot going towards the placements. It is a best of 3 though, so Cryptik aren't out of it if they win this game. And Armada will have one more shot, but at the moment this Fire Giant, Armada are trying to make more of an impact. They're pushing down left-hand side though. Not so sure about that when there's a tier 1 and tier 2 still up in mid lane at the same time. It means it's very, very tricky if you're trying to retreat from that area too, because your only real escape route is back the way you came.
They're just going to split push, I think, or not split push, but push out all the lanes at the same time before they go for the mid wave, because after the tower does crumble inevitably from middle, they can easily switch over to either side depending on the positioning of the waves, the positioning of the opponents as well. And like you mentioned before, Armada just 1 game away from closing out this set, 1 step closer to making it towards the placements. Only opponent standing in their way is going to be next week's Sanguine, and whoever wins that one is going to basically make the placements.
Let's see if they can win here first of all. But at the moment with Xbalanque and Chronos, it won't take long to bring down the towers. Meerkat doing good work to Sibyl after Mass wall, but Mass got destroyed. Mando ults in on that Morrigan with the Thor play to try and collapse onto Meerkat. The wall's good to set up Cope for a kill. Vetium going to rewind back to the dangerous area of the backside, and now he's being pressured down too. And a turnaround play for Cryptik here, as now they're on the aggressive. They could get a Phoenix off this.
I love how Cryptik really punished Armada for being just in no man's land.
Bottish.
Baskin was right lane. Geno was still rotating from the base. There's no business that Armada had there at the tier 2 tower. A 5-on-3, Cryptik heavily exploiting Armada's mispositioning.
And now Cryptik heading on towards the Phoenix. It's only Geno here to defend. Baskin finally realizing that he may be mustered to help defend, but the Phoenix may have already fallen and does so. Baskin in the Titan room though, as Cryptik looking to close the game out.
But Baskin trying to block the basic attacks from Diesel. Titan at half health. I don't know about this one, Hindu.
Well, they should be able to bring down the Titan. Baskin gets one kill. Titan getting very low. The damage from the World Weaving, so the ultimate is doing so much, but the Titan is still whittled down bit by bit by bit. But the pulls on the ground will give Baskin a quadra kill. He didn't deserve that. That's not right. That's not right.
And he's going to get the right side Phoenix.
That's
he
not
opened
right.
up the door by split pushing earlier on. The wave is right at the
Don't
doorstep.
give him credit for this.
Baskin, MVP.
Don't give him credit.
Let's
for this.
go.
No. He had a CC immune ultimate where he couldn't be damaged, just ropes around with the pulls on the ground. And then he was so late to the team fight, his rest of his team died because he was split pushing. That's upsetting.
What can I say? Late game Baskin back at it again with the easy dub.
Can they end off this now?
Maybe. No, they can't end. But they can definitely get the Phoenix guaranteed.
Phoenix falls, and well, we're a semi-square game. Because the problem is now is that Titan is so very, very low in the middle area.
It's so vulnerable.
The fact there's Diesel, who's playing the Chernobog, that could swoop into somebody recall into base. Or the fact there's Horus, that could also ult the team in there. Or there's a fact that MandoWarrior is playing the Morrigan and could use either of those two things, or Thor,
with the Thor,
or Baskin on the Jormungandr to dive in and look for the end. This is a tricky task for Armada now.
Okay, so I don't know if MandoWarrior alone can end. They're going to need more assistance. So I like the idea of maybe Sibyl accelerating him and somebody else towards that Titan room. We saw Raffer do that during the SPL, a very funny victory. I believe it was over United. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a fun little match to watch. But I think Cryptik are getting the same idea as we are, and they want to end the game.
But I don't think they try and force it. I think they should slow play and wait for the right opportunity. Vetium forced to rewind early on. Darkest of Nights used in that fight too, as all the Thor ultimates are being consumed. Cope's getting very low, and he's on his last legs, but gets a good shell out from Sibyl. But Sibyl's also swooping back towards the safety of his team. JinguBang, meanwhile, did at least take down Meerkat. Mask gonna fall down to MandoWarrior too, as Vetium is cleaning up the house on the backside, but Mando gonna annihilate that option. The carries of Armada are dead. It's a 3-on-2.
Baskin trying to back right
2-on-2.
now, and I think he will get there just in time. Phoenix still down Titan on its last legs. Baskin gonna get the knockup. MandoWarrior needs to be stopped.
No minions there, just yet. The minions are slowing them down. Baskin kills Sibyl, and the minions in the pit. I don't think this is an end either.
No, it's not. It's gonna be a reset as well. MandoWarrior will fall. Another deicide as Baskin holds it for Armada.
If anything, I actually think the Titan regened more off that play, because the minions were in there for a second, but so were the gods. The god reset it after dying.
Can we take a look at the Titan real quick? I want to see its health.
I don't know if we can show that. Might be able to if we're lucky.
Just if we're close. It's basically the same as it was.
I think it went up and down. So I think it gained a little bit more than that.
And
it's
now fire minions on the opposite end, but with JinguBang and Diesel respawning, not really going to get chipped away. As production just let us know, it's at 3,700 right now. Before, I think it was around 4 point something. But
crazy game. Crazy.
It's nuts.
That would have just been game 2 done, by the way, if Cryptik do this, because we still go to a third one where we can see more crazy action like this. It's not often you see a Titan get this low. Here's the difference, though. The middle Phoenix is about to respawn, and when that respawns, the Titan will start to heal, and this danger zone that Armada have been in will be nullified for the moment.
And honestly, Armada could have easily lost because Vetium got caught out having to use the rewind very early in that engagement.
I think Cryptik just overcommitted there, I feel. I feel like they could have taken it a bit slower. They had a lot of opportunity to put some pressure on the map, take down the tier 2 and left, which would have weakened the Titan further. They had a few variables involved. I just think they showed their hand a little bit too quick.
At this point, you got to trust your calls that you are making.
Course.
So the fact that Cryptik all committed to that one call, I do like that play. Unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20. Didn't really work out for them. When you see a Chronos alone and out of position, you generally tend to go on it.
Armada going to be a bit careful here. Quite a few relics down. Specifically, Mast has no relics available just yet. Beads are not available for Meerkat. So just watch how aggressive Armada get until they get those relics up. The dance of the Fire Giant has begun. Cryptik have done a good job of pushing out minions from the right-hand side, so their right-hand Phoenix will respawn momentarily, and the regen towards the Titan will be there. Armada gonna start BFG without a couple of relics. I'm surprised by this.
It is enhanced as well. Cope teleports to that ward, trying to loop around the camp.
Looking towards Meerkat, and that's where the all-in's going to be, but the Rising Juggernaut Wall from Mass is perfect. It did trap Geno into an awkward spot, but they've got a lot of damage off in that fight and managed to kill Sibyl. Meerkat does fall to the back as Team Cryptik try and close in on the Xbalanque. JinguBang falls down to Mast. Armada are coming up big in this team fight. Unless we can see something happen with MandoWarrior, this could be the game.
I don't know about this one, Hindu man. Armada were on the brink of extinction, and with a third deicide in a row, I think this is Armada's game. They're set, and their next opportunity to make placements against Sanguine next week.
And in we go towards the Phoenix room. I'm pretty sure that is the game unless something crazy happens. 30-second on the respawns. Baskin's healthy enough to attack the Titan and this Phoenix if required here. So this should be it. Armada move on to next week with still a chance to go into the placements.
Yeah, with Vetium here and Baskin to tank this alongside Geno, Titan guaranteed to go down. And I'm really surprised that Cryptik weren't able to win that last team fight with such a beautiful triple stun coming through from MandoWarrior.
So close from Cryptik, yet so far. End of the day, you only win the game if you're Team F6 or the Titan falls. And the Titan fell of Cryptik's. Armada take game 2. Crazy.
It's down and dirty for both of these two teams.
Don't deserve that.
Cryptik really, I think, performed well this set. I wanted to see more of this kind of performance from them previously in phase number 2, but you know what? They really had to make Armada work for this victory.
They really did, and that's one credit to Armada here as well, is that they needed to win today. Cryptik put on a very good performance. Wasn't going to be enough, though, to bring them down, so Armada march on. So it's next week, it's Sanguine versus Armada, is
Yes,
that
that's the matchup. Whoever wins that one is making placements.
Is that simple?
It's that simple.
Well, then we'll get to find out how that works out between Sanguine and Armada. And with the minor league continuing to go on, we'll find out what the desk has to say and how the standings look. Let's get over to that.
Thank you, Hindu and Toli, and thanks, Baskin, I guess, if you wanted the 2-0 victory here for Armada, because he pops off a quadra kill to defend the Titan, and Armada find a necessary 2-0 victory. Aggro joined by Zeros here on the desk, and Zeros, I mean, that just looks like the Baskin show to me.
I wonder how much damage it did that time. They were trying to end, and he Jorm ulted like 4 people with 3 jumps.
All 3.
That must have been like 20,000 damage or something with one ability.
Easily. Here it is, your Titan defense, what saves the game. Cryptik thought they had it in the bag, but this is where all the damage comes from, man. That is so much damage right there. And Mask respawning, absolutely critical. Then, Cryptik have another chance to come in the game, and they decide to clear the wave to try and bring fire minions in instead of just going for the end, and Baskin does it again.
He's the gatekeeper for this Titan. You're not getting past him.
He's as tall as the Titan, so that makes sense to me, man. That is brutal for the boys of Cryptik. Really should have won both games.
Yeah.
And they didn't by the slightest of margins.
I mean, props to them though, so close both games. And the jungler JinguBang, what a performance from him. Honestly, both games, he played so well on the Rat, on the Pele this game. He did so much work in both games. Not a name I've heard a lot before either, so
yeah.
like, just really impressive stuff coming out.
When you're talking about guys who want to perform for next year and show that they can get onto a pretty good team, I think that's exactly the performance you're looking for, right? Is teams who need a jungler next year, JinguBang's probably a name that you're going to hear around a decent amount. MandoWarrior as well had a sick game on the Morrigan. I mean, how many multi-man stuns did he get in the late game? Yeah,
transformed into the 4 as well a lot of times. I got a lot of work done with it. Like he would assassinate someone, then insta transform into the 4 and dunk someone else. Like played like kind of weird playstyle, but like it worked out so good.
It certainly did. Top of the player damage charts on his team. Of course, Baskin top overall because he got thousands and thousands of damage on 1 or 2 Titan defenses. But what a win for Armada. A necessary one as well because their matchup up against Sanguine next week is going to be winner take all. In fact, take a look at the standings. You'll see that we're all knotted up near the top end of the North American Minor League. Hype Unit, they are at 7-3 currently. Both Armada and Sanguine at 7-2 apiece. So that way it looks, I mean, Hype Unit has a bye week next week. Winner goes for Armada Sanguine. I wonder though, I mean, plus minus, I don't know what the head-to-head is. Hype Unit did at least beat Sanguine once, but they split. I feel like if Sanguine lose 2-1, they would still go based on plus minus, it looks like.
What about Armada? Do they have to 2-0 or is that 2-1 enough?
A 2-1 would be enough because that would get them at 8 wins no matter what. As long as Armada wins,
true.
they are in. If Sanguine forces game 3, they will go, is what it looks like to me. We'll get all that confirmed for you, especially for Esports Weekly tomorrow, which is happening. Also, we have a Dev Insight show. Hey, Zeros, here's a little teaser for you. Freya's getting some stuff talked about tomorrow.
That's about time.
So you better tune in to find out what's going on with Freya right here on Mixer.com/SmiteGame tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. You can peach it.